Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to a Sunday long weekend edition. Holy banana bread. I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. Um, it's raining here. Cats and dogs for sure. Um, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. No thunder and lightning thus far. We'll see how that changes. We'll see how that changes. So what a weekend. So we do have some news, but believe it or not, it's not Donald Trump news. It's kind of it's all about WestJet, and yeah, we've got a strike. So the yeah, well, let's just say we've got a lot of canceled planes. We got a lot of people who are sitting there with tickets and say, well, with no plane to fly. So that's going to throw a big monkey wrench, I think, in a lot of people's vacation plans. So we are talking WestJet. And we're not supposed to do monologues on the weekend, guys. We're really, really not. But this feels like a monologue. If it feels like a monologue and it quacks like a monologue. I guess beavers don't quack, but you know what I mean. It's a monologue. It's a little bit. It's monologue light. It's a light monologue. So, um, basically, we've have the flight attendants. They gave their 72-hour notice that is now passed. They are no longer on the job. So basically, we're talking a little more than 4,000 flight attendants are currently on strike for WestJet. So this is going to cause a little bit of disruption. Summer's a big time for vacations. So there's going to be a lot of there might even be some stranded Canadians. I do not know. Well, I'm not going to say it yet. We'll hit that at the end. Here's the big thing. I don't know how much I want to talk about the strike. I kind of want to talk about what happens when the strike finishes. So let's say they hit a deal tonight. Are they going to be flying tomorrow? The answer to that is actually kind of interesting. It's no. There's a high unlikely. It's very unlikely that we'll get the planes back in the air anytime soon. There's still Air Canada, of course. They're flying as normal. But part of the reason, so why can't we just flip the switch back on, get the planes up again tomorrow if we were to hit a deal today? And obviously, I don't think we're going to hit a deal today, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a deal this week. Basically, airlines they're actually one of the more complicated businesses on earth. So you kind of got to think about it. If you have a car, I'll use a car analogy. Why not? If you were to park it for a week, then you hop in, turn on the ignition, you just drive away. Simple as that. Well, a Boeing 737, it doesn't exactly work that way. It's kind of it's a lot more. It's almost like if you were to shut down a city and then you try to reboot it. Every aircraft, so they have a schedule. Every crew has a schedule. Every gate has a schedule. We're talking every baggage cart, the fuel trucks. I mean, we're talking about a major amount of coordination with an airport. So, obviously all of the resources, once WestJet went on strike, all of these resources, they've been redeployed. So you have to unredeploy them. You have to bring in everything from fuel trucks, maintenance crews, get the pilots back, and also get all of your flight attendants rescheduled. It's quite a synchronicity. That be the word for it. It's quite the job. So that's the thing. And here's the other things too. Even I guess a lot of people don't understand this. When you park an airplane at the airport, they're still paying money on these things. So these airplanes, they have they got lease payments, insurance, financing, airport fees, maintenance, all of that. So, and decrepitation. So WestJet, even though you might be thinking, because a lot of people sort of assume if there's a strike, oh yeah, well, the airline is saving money right now. They're great. Well, no, they're not. They're actually losing money because they don't have the cost of the flights. People paying to be flown to pay for all of these other things. So it does add up a little bit. So it's pretty expensive to have a plane just sitting there. So trust me, they're motivated to get things moving as fast as possible, but it is that it is kind of a spider web of connected things at the airport that you have to kind of navigate. And it's kind of interesting. So first of all, once the strike is over, the first thing that's going to happen is, well, you got to inspect these planes. You can't just throw them back up in the air. It doesn't matter how long they've been sitting. We're going to have maintenance checks. There's going to be a lot of paperwork. There's going to be, any of the crews, they're still going to need legal rest periods before they can begin flying. The pilots then have to get repaired with the appropriate aircraft. Flight attendants are going to have to get reassigned wherever they're going. And of course, some aircraft might even have to be repositioned. It's kind of an interesting thing to get everything moving. That's not even looking at the schedule. What do we do with all these canceled flights? Are we going to try to make up for some of them? Are we not? Are we going to have to, reschedule some of these people who are sitting there with canceled tickets? So it could be really, really interesting. So it's funny, you could have an airplane just sitting there in Calgary, and in the restart, it might actually be needed the next day in Toronto. So you may have to move that plane. It kind of sounds weird. Like you'd be like, well, just throw some people on it and fly them to Toronto. But, it's not quite so simple. The economics themselves can actually get very ugly really fast. So it's one of the reasons that a lot of airlines will go out of their way to try to prevent it from getting to this point. So it's interesting. And I will say right now, when you look at an airline, they're not super profitable. Like they actually run on very thin margins. So they spend millions every day just to keep their aircraft moving. And like I said, when that flight stops, that revenue keeps on piling up. So it's not, I'm glad it's not Air Canada. That would, but yeah. So it's kind of an interesting thing. It's like, think of it as a restaurant. If you shut down a restaurant, guess what? They're still paying everything else, rent, you name it. Same idea here with a plane. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So what's the bigger picture if we look at restarting the airline? So I guess the interesting debate is it isn't just the wages, it's when the work actually is going to begin, how long it's going to take to get everything back in order. Now, flight attendants, one of the big arguments that they have, and this is something that's and I guess I'm kind of getting into the strike a little bit. One of the big problems is that they don't get paid for a lot of the work they do. So they technically don't get paid until the aircraft door closes. So think about it. While that door's open and they're getting you to your seat, getting you all positioned, that's pretty much all free work. So, and that's part of the debate that's been going on. So they're not getting basically they're not being paid for boarding. A lot of times the door's still open when they're doing the safety demonstrations, helping passengers, managing carry-on, also dealing with delays. So there's a lot of things they don't get paid for, which is just absolutely ludicrous. As far as I'm concerned, it's pretty darn ludicrous. And it's been a major, and it's not just WestJet. This has been an issue right across all of North America when it comes to airlines. And a lot of the striking that we're seeing, it is tying right into that. And here's the other thing too. When you look at this strike, so there's a lot of companies connected to what the airline does. We're talking things like hotels, rental cars, restaurants, airport shops, tourism operators. They all will feel a pinch as well. Now, I guess at a big airport, if you still have a lot of other flights. I mean, obviously, you're still going to have a good amount of customers, but you're still going to feel a pinch from those customers who are no longer going to be using WestJet until this is, of course, resolved. But what can I say? Hopefully, both sides do reach an agreement soon, and I'm going to predict that we have at least a tentative agreement. I'm going to say by Friday. I think we will. And and then we can start getting things moving. So what would be the earliest I could see? I probably think not this coming week, but maybe the following week we might be able to get things back in the air. So that'll be fun once, of course, everything once it all does its thing. All right, like I said, this is a light monologue. I didn't have a lot to say. I just kind of wanted to I guess I wanted to sort of just ramble. I wanted to do a ramble monologue. And I think I rambled. I think I did a really good job of rambling. um, so let's get back. Let's get to you guys. And before we do, guys, before today is out, we're gonna get our bingo card set up because we have bingo on Tuesday, and it's going to be an interesting one because the American markets, the U.S. markets are open tomorrow. So it's not like we can just sort of look at what's happening in the world right now and make a prediction on where we think. So I think I think there could be an extra level of difficulty with this bingo. So anyway, it'll be fun. We'll get that set up a little bit later. But before we do, I want to hit the chat. And in first, we got Prairie. Good afternoon, community. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic long weekend. Awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. Lisa says, hi, everyone. Finally getting some much needed rain here. Yeah. There's a lot of rain. Like, pretty much, there's a giant strip of rain pretty much going straight across Ontario. So from southern Ontario all the way through to Ottawa, like tonight we're getting 40 to 50 millimeters here. Even right now, I can hear the rain outside. I don't, you guys can hear it, but it is there. Well, here, I'll stop talking for a second. Tell me if you can hear the rain. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, if you could hear that rain, let me know. I don't think you can. But, it's worth trying. It was worth trying. Yep, says, thank you, Prairie. I hope I hope everyone has a great long weekend too. It's good to have a chill time after many days of working hard. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Prairie agrees. Um, Samantha says, good afternoon, Goat Squad. I hope you are all having a great weekend. Oh, I just saw something. I gotta turn it off. Yeah, we got one show in the bank there for Tuesday already, so we don't have the Financial Express on board. So there's no pressure to be dropping supers and stuff. You're more than welcome to. It's always great to support the channel, but there's no immediate need. There's no immediate need. Larry says DJT News, Truth Social, early tweets, price revealed, 100K a month or 60K a month for a 3-year subscription. Oh, that's crazy, Larry. So, guys, if you're wondering what Larry's talking about, Donald Trump is trying to sell early access to his truths on Truth Social. So, like, if you want to take advantage of something he's going to post, that's going to influence the market. Those are the types of things that you might get by having early access. But look at the price tag. 100,000 a month or 60K a month for a 3-year subscription. A 3-year subscription, he's not even going to be in power for 3 years. Well, other than he keeps on posting. He actually, I think on the weekend he went crazy on Truth Social, sending a lot of different memes, and he's been posting lately Trump 2028 posters, campaign posters. So I don't know how he's going to get around it, but honestly, I'm not even worried. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a couple of footages of him giving some speeches over the last couple of days, and I just don't think he looks healthy. I can't. I think. Well, for one, being the president, you know, no matter who you are, being the president, I think it ages you. If you guys remember, do you guys remember Obama? Do you remember he came in? Yes, he did 8 years, but I'll tell you, if you look at Obama before and Obama after the 8 years, he looks like he aged like 20 years. And I see that a lot with presidents. I think that job is so stressful, it just prematurely ages you. And Trump was already old coming in. So I can't see, even if he could somehow get the go ahead to do a third term, or he calls it a fourth term, um, I don't think he's going to be healthy enough. I really don't think. I even have doubts. I have some doubts. Like, I don't think it's 100% that he finishes this term. That's how unhealthy I think he looks. But he could be made of sterner stuff. I'll give him credit. He could. There's times I've seen people who look like they're ready to sort of meet their maker really, really soon, and then they keep on kicking around for another 20 years. So maybe he's one of those folks. But yeah, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Scott, I'm disappointed that both sides couldn't just say this is where we landed with Air Canada last year. You get the same deal and move on. I almost kind of thought, Scott, I kind of thought that's what was going to happen. So, yeah, I'm like, what the heck? All right, let's see. I hope our trade delegates aren't flying WestJet. um, I'm wondering how much WestJet. I, I I don't know. Well, yeah, well, maybe. Well, no, I'm pretty sure. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I could have swore I read somewheres that Air Canada kind of has a monopoly on the political stuff. So, flying MPs and things like that. But I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong. I know I saw it somewhere, and I can't even tell you where I saw it. That's how long ago it was. Mary says hello, all guys. Mary's our official captain of the like button. If you feel inclined, please feel free to hit the like button. It's a long weekend, so I'm not going to bug you guys about the like button. Mary may bug you, but I'm not going to bug you. You know, I'll just say this: it is. It's all about creating what's this? A stimulation to the algorithm. So the algorithm loves it when you guys interact with the channel. Now, I was doing some research the other day because I think it was, who was it Prairie? No, or was it Ian? Anyway, we're talking about ads the other day. And I was looking at what the heck YouTube is doing, and I found out one little piece of information that I did not know. So when you guys are interacting with the channel, so anytime there's a peak in interaction, YouTube will not throw an ad out while that's happening. So in other words, the more active you are, and the more active like chat is and that should suppress ads. So what they should be doing is when chat sort of slows down a bit and we get a lull, that's probably when they're going to throw an ad at you. If you've got YouTube Premium, then you don't have to worry about it at all. But if that might be part of what's going on. So I also looked at scheduled, because I thought it would be great if I could schedule it so that like I could say, okay, well, there could be an ad at, like, on the market close, there could be an ad at like 4:15. There we go. And then at 4:15, if I knew there was going to be a 30-second ad, I could just go on a stupid tangent, like a really dumb tangent, like a tangent you'll be so glad you missed. But it didn't quite. It's just like, no, every 30 minutes or every 15 minutes. I'm like, no, I don't want an ad every 15 minutes. That's crazy. Even 30 minutes, I think, is a little bit too late. Like, I think what's reasonable is, if you are a person who doesn't have YouTube Premium, I think what's reasonable is, one ad an hour. I think that's reasonable, or maybe even one every 90 minutes. Well, no, I'd say, because if it's one an hour, and that would mean I would see that as meaning you'd have one ad. We're not talking about the ending, the end ads or the beginning ads. Um, that's the reason I have a countdown, by the way. I put that countdown there because, people who don't have YouTube Premium, all they're missing when they're watching that ad at the beginning is they're missing the countdown. They're not missing any of the show. But yeah, if it was like a situation where you got one ad on like, the market close, maybe on this one where we normally go 2.5 hours, maybe then you could have like two ads. I don't know. That's just how I think. YouTube, I think I think they have their own agenda. So what can I say? All right. Tom says, I wish it was Air Canada. Yes, yes. Air Canada is just flying high. Friday, they broke above $26. Actually, here. Let's take a quick gander here, Air Canada. So yeah, oh no, they came back down. Look at this. They actually dropped 3.316%. But yeah, they were up here at about $26.30 at the early part of Friday. So yeah, what can we say? Tom says deja vu. Yes. Prairie, I'm flying Air Canada to Europe at the end of August. You picked the right airline, Prairie. You picked the right one. Which is funny because I gotta say, I usually do pick WestJet. I love Air Canada, but WestJet. Now, WestJet used to. I thought WestJet used to have like a sense of humor at one point in time. I know back in the '90s and the early 2000s, like sometimes the pilot would come on and actually tell a joke. You'd never get that with Air Canada, but you used to get that with WestJet. So I was kind of like, I kind of liked it that way. But I found as we got deeper into 2000s, WestJet they kind of began to homogenize a little bit with Air Canada and became a little bit less, jokey, a little bit more serious. I'm like, yeah, I mean, sure, there's times on an airplane to be serious, like, but at the same time, there's times to be a little bit, you could be funny. Within limits, there's probably some areas of joking you don't want to do on an airplane, especially if you're like the pilot. Like for example, I mean, can you imagine if you came on and said, attention, flyers, does anybody here happen to know how to fly a plane? That would be a terrible thing to say across there. It would be funny in a way, but it would be terrible. It would be. Scott says the airline argument is that a lot of delays are out of the hands of the airline itself. The wheels up, down policy of pay is in their control, and that's why the pay was structured that way. Yeah, it makes, and I understand that. I understand it. Like a lot of, yeah, you're right. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. You may be at the airport, you may be ready to take off, but the airport's just like, yeah, nope, you're not taking off anytime soon. We gotta take care of a few things first. So yeah, that is completely out of your control. But that's why. That's why what you do, and this is the solution. This is what I think is the solution. Now, I don't know. Now, maybe this is already done, and maybe it isn't a solution, but this is kind of the way I would look at it, is provide them a yearly salary, and have it based on an average. So, there will be days. So, for example, when I say an average, like the average time it takes to take off. So, there will be days that obviously you take off quick and it's almost like you're getting paid a lot more because everything went smoothly. Then there'll be days where, yeah, it'll feel like you're not getting paid as much because there were a bunch of delays. But, it would need to be a fair salary, of course, but that's how I would sort of look at it. And that way you're not really counting it as hours. You're not saying, okay, I get paid when that door closes. No, you're going to say, well, no, I get paid this amount a year. That's my salary. Great. And if it's a good competitive salary and you're happy with that salary, then end of the argument. That's how I would do it. But maybe airlines are just like, nope, we don't want to do that. I would say just do it anyway, but that's just me. Niece is in the house with a hey all. Hey niece, how are you? Rory says, afternoon. We are getting wind and smoke from Spokane and BC. Oh, have you guys? I was watching some news reports out of Spokane earlier today, and holy banana bread. They got it pretty bad. They got it pretty bad. So it was pretty intense. So I'm not surprised that you're getting some smoke up there. And you know what? This is why Canada is more classy than the United States. Have we even once called up the US and said, hey, you're mismanaging your forest down there in Washington. We're going to start tariffing some of your stuff because you're sending smoke at us. We don't want that. We got enough of our own smoke. No, we didn't do that. Not even once. If anything, you know what Canada's doing? We're looking at Spokane and we're like going, gosh, how can we help? What resources can we spare right now? That's what Canada's doing. You know, we're not threatening tariffs. We're threatening to come down with some hoses. That's what Canada does. All right. Rory says wind gusts to 80 kilometers. Yeah. Yeah, well, the wind, some of the problem with the Spokane is even with fire breaks isn't stopping the fire because the fire's, with the wind, the fire's moving and it's just hopping along the top. And at one point, it even hopped over a river. So get that, a fire. Like you can't have a better, fire break than a river. But a fire, it actually jumped from treetop to treetop across rivers. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I mean, I hope they get this under control sooner than later. And it's not just one fire, guys. Spokane got hit with two. There's two of them. There's two separate fires. All right. Scott says these overcast conditions and rain are coming from south of the border, ruining our long weekend. We should. Wow. I just said we didn't do that. I said West Canadians, we took the high road. Scott, I'm going to say this to you. I don't mean to be mean, but you're a little on the evil side, Scott. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, boy. Larry says too much mac sauce in his blood. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I don't even know what they make Big Mac sauce out of, but too much Waffle House and IHOP. Prairie, 60K or 100K invested a month. If I had that kind of green, I would make it would make me more than a move from a truth would make me. Yeah. I mean, if you could afford to pay $100,000 a month, I think you've got the resources that you should be fine without having to get early access to, the craziness that Trump likes to truth out. MP, let's see, if I had 60K a month to spend, I might add 50 shares of MSTE. Oh, really? All right. Our Toronto. Well, hello, Toronto. Hi, Candace. Found your channel yesterday and haven't stopped watching since. Oh my gosh, Toronto, get some sleep. A little bit of sleep in there. Anyway, thank you. So yeah, Toronto, of course, getting a bit of rain today too. So yeah, definitely, we love Toronto. We love Toronto. Not a fan of the Leafs, but the city is awesome. Scott says, I don't have monetization turned on, and I wonder if viewers will see ads. Is YouTube getting profit when I don't want any profit to be made? Yes, they are. So here's the interesting thing. So if you have a YouTube channel and you put out a video and you say, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to milk everybody. I'm turning off monetization. YouTube is still gonna hit. They're still gonna throw ads at people. They will still throw ads. It's just that they'll take 100% of that revenue. So, for example, when you first start with YouTube, you don't get any of the ad money at all initially. So you have to have, like, before you can get the ad revenue, you need to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within the last year. So, and that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's really not. I think last month, I had, I don't know, 10,000 watch hours just in the last month. But, that's kind of a big thing. So while you are working towards that, they're still showing ads to people on your channel, and those, and they are collecting that money as well. You're just not getting any share until you hit their thing. So once you hit their thing, then you'll get a little bit of ad money. It's not a lot. Like you can't really. I don't think you can live off of AdSense per se. You need to sort of diversify. That's one of the reasons, like if you look at a lot of big YouTube channels, you'll be like, why the heck are they, why are they showing me ground news every episode? Well, it's because the ad revenue, I mean, now mind you, they're making a lot on the ad revenue compared to what I'm making. But it's not a huge amount. So a lot of times, especially if they've got a staff, because imagine if you're paying for 6 or 7 salaries for your staff, that's kind of interesting. Although I think I know a way to get a cheaper staff. So when I get a team, I watched a video today, and basically it's this guy who he does AI related videos, but he went to this hairdresser girl, and he set her up with a team. I think it was 6 people. So he basically, so he brought in 6 separate computers. Each one had an AI agent on it to try to help her. Well, initially, it drove her nuts because she was not a big AI person. So he came up with this new strategy, and I thought this was hilarious. So he decided to basically give them all distinct personalities. So he chose The Office. So one of them had Dwight Schrute's personality, and it had a face on its monitor that had the glasses and kind of looked a little bit like Dwight. And there was like an Oscar and basically the main people from The Office, other than there wasn't any Michael or anything. But, and then it actually worked pretty well. And, she ended up using it really well. And I was like saying, gosh, if I had a team like that, they could keep me in line. It's like, Candace, you should be scripting another video. Candace, that video's not good enough. You need to make it better. I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, but so what would be the cost? Obviously, I'd have to have all of those agents, and I'd also probably, because the way that they did it was having each one have its own little laptop. So there'd be a little bit of investment to do something like that. But I thought it was really, I found it kind of funny, and I thought it was actually kind of effective. Because right now, like I do everything, and that's fine. I don't mind it. But, someday down the road, like what I'd love, one of the most time consuming parts of my job is when I'm editing a video, I go through and I basically mute all the breaths. So every little breath I take while filming that video gets muted. Except for I always try to leave one. And there's a reason why I leave one, is because then if somebody accuses me of being an AI because I'm not breathing, I can go and say, oh, no, look at this one breath over here. And that might just be silly, but I try to leave one in every single video. So next time you're watching a video, if you want to play a game, it's like, find the breath. I don't know how fun that would be, but why not? People sometimes do, people sometimes have games based on really dumb things, and that would be a really dumb thing. Tom says, if IVM drops below 10, I'll be looking at it again. Ooh. So yeah, actually here, let's head on over here to the swings for a moment. And IVM, so look at this. Right now they're sitting. I like where they're sitting. Actually, I haven't looked at IVN in a bit, but let's take a look here. Well, we kind of got a new channel starting to form here. I'm going to pull this in here. Let's see here. I'd say, yeah, look at this. We kind of got a new channel actually forming in here. So I don't know. I would almost say right now, like I know you're talking 10. So 10 would be, yeah, if it comes back down here. But I actually, even where it's at right now at 10.07, that's not a bad spot, because it should be able to get you at least up to 10.80. So you're not looking at a huge swing, but we do have a little bit of a swing. We got a little bit of a channel here. So that could be interesting. Scott says, on your first flight with Porter, they will upgrade you. Oh, really? What, to like first class? That's kind of cool. I've never flown first class. I mean, I don't know how much I would get out of first class. I don't drink, so Let's see. Tom just got 104. Oh my gosh. Got 144 more entries on Wealthsimple. Have a swing, Candace. I got 0. Oh, wait. That's right. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot. All right. Give me a second here. Oh, how do I get out of there? Oh. I was like, what's going on? That's not Wealthsimple. I was sitting in Blossom. All right, give me a second. I'll bring up Wealthsimple here, and I'm going to give it a spin. I'm going to give it a spin here in a second, see if we can get some entries. All right, where do we go? Where do we go? Right here. All right, let's go big screen. All right, and there we go. And let's spin this, see if we get ourselves some entries here. And we get 63. All right, well, 63. I'll take it. I'll take it. 63 more entries. Oh, I didn't spin it yesterday, Tom. All right, I will not forget. I will not forget. TT3 says ho. Awesome. Awesome. It's like you're half a Santa, because that'd be a ho ho, or a third of Santa. Ho ho ho. Yeah, there we go. Scott says spinning the coin in Wealthsimple app adds entries every day. Apparently, yes. Larry says we need to secure Canada's forests for safety. No, there we go. We got a lot of forests. Actually, one state in the United States has a ton of forests. We're actually talking Maine. If you look at northern Maine, you're not going to find any communities there. It's pretty much all forestry. But part of the reason for that is back in the olden days, when the U.S. was forming and Canada was forming, there was almost a small war over northern Maine, but the U.S. wanted that lumber because they could just float them down rivers and use all of that lumber for building a lot of their cities, everything from Portland, Maine to New York. So yeah, that's how they ended up. That's why Maine sticks up almost like rabbit ears into Canada, because the U.S. wanted that lumber and nobody was willing to go to war over it. So that's how the border ended up getting kind of strange in that one spot. Because if you look at the border, it's pretty flat up to that point. I probably should show you this only because I'm like, I'm kind of making you visualize it. But if you actually look at it, it's kind of interesting here. Let's see here. Oh, that's Ottawa. We're not looking for Ottawa. We're looking for maps. Oops, let's go to maps. Google Maps. All right. Let's zip out. We're zipping away from Ottawa. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, up here, because if you look here, normally, I mean, if it weren't for all of the forestry up here, that probably just would have been a straight line, and that probably would have been a part of New Brunswick. But the U.S. needed all of the wood, needed all of that wood, for Portland, New York, probably Providence and New Haven. I mean, so there's a lot of different places, probably even maybe Boston in there as well. So, anyway, let's see here. Oh, my God. Sorry, I just showed it to you without showing it. It's not a stream until I forget to, go little screen. There we go. Oh gosh. Anyway, yes. So this is the parallel right here. So typically, if it weren't for all this wood, the initial border was going to go right straight across. So the top part of Maine would have been part of New Brunswick or part of Quebec. Who knows? But like I said, all up in here, this is all pretty much forestry. It's actually, one statistic is if you look at the proportion of forests to the proportion of land that is not forest, Maine has the highest. And you might say, wait a minute, there's other states that have more forests than Maine do. Yes, but they also have tons of flat land, tons of farms and everything else. So, all right, let's see here. And let's see, I just received the second AD since the start of the stream. Started just as I was going to type one ad since the start. Oh no! Those darn ads. All right, Canada and the EU is starting to realize we cannot just rely on America for everything. No, I mean, and that's the thing. I'm perfectly okay with us opening up more and more trade with the EU. And that's the thing. As not whoever steps in next after Trump, I think they're going to have a big wake up call when they look at how much trade he has lost the United States and how much that has overall hurt the economy. Roy says Trump going off like a darn clown really opens eyes, doesn't it? Yeah. Larry says just got a Moo ad right now. Gonna go back to paid YouTube. Oh no, a Moo ad. Oh, you see, and I told Moo I'm not going to advertise you, and I think they said, yeah, we'll see about that. That's what Moo said. Scott says, if they're serving ads on my videos, I might as well turn on monetization. Yes. I would definitely say that. All right, our Toronto says, okay, well, after getting the most important thing out of the way, which was subscribing and starting to lean into buying the new covered call ETFs, what amazing products. Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing is always to understand what each covered call, because not all covered calls are created equal. Some of them are, some are good. Some of them are not as good. I always say just make sure you understand what the strategy that they're using, understand what they're holding. Like there's a big difference between holding a diversified basket within a covered call ETF than holding a single stock within an ETF. So always important to sort of look at what you're holding and understand it. And that way there you can make an informed decision on whether or not it fits your risk profile, for example. Rory says bought Utes on Friday. Nice. Larry, can you guys use subscriptions as business write-offs for research? Good question. That's a good question. I don't think they can, but I mean, if you get creative, sometimes you can use things off that you wouldn't expect. Patrick says, is it too late to get into bank and C-Day? All right, so one of the things I'll definitely say is I think the Canadian banking system, I think it's very strong. I think it's going to continue to do well. Will we have corrections? Of course we will. Will there be times that you're going to get better entry points? Maybe. So it's going to be kind of one of these things. But here's the thing. And C-Day is kind of a similar thing, although C-Day is more diversified. So I like C-Day quite a bit. And I like Bank quite a bit. Bank is actually more diversified as well than, for example, SIXI. SIXI is like just the banks. There's both right now. They're both doing about the same, but when things get a little bit shakier, Bank might do a little bit better because they also move into the life insurance companies as well. But what I'm basically getting to though is even when they do run into some problems or when they do to pull back a little bit, like maybe we have a bear market, who knows? If that were to happen, the bright part of that is that you're still going to get income from both of them. I think they're both going to be fine. I like them. I like them both. All right, Scratch says maybe you can start to stream on Rumble too at the same time. You stream on YouTube. I think they are more respectful and it's a Canadian company. I've heard about Rumble. Yeah, I haven't, there's a few different things. Like I know I've also thought, well, what about Twitch at the same time? So, it's one of those things I'm thinking about. It probably isn't going to happen this year, but that could be, I don't know if it'll be Rumble, if it'll be Twitch, but that might be a 2027 thing. Because I always try to, the big changes I make on the channel, I try to do it at year's end. I don't like to shake the boat mid-year per se, if I can help it. I will make little changes, but I try to avoid the big ones for the most part. Scratch, many streamers started a Rumble channel when COVID hit because they got censored by YouTube and not by Rumble. Well, yeah, I've heard that about Rumble, they're a little bit, what's the word? Less restrictive on things that you can say. Because, yeah, there are things like I know during COVID, if you said COVID or if you said pandemic, sometimes that meant that you would get this big, well, I think for the most part, you'd normally just give you a big little thing, like a little ad thing, sort of like a giant link type thing at the bottom of your video. So that way there people could sort of, click on that, especially if you're talking about it, so that they could click on that to go to information about it. But yeah, I don't know. Caught me looking at what? Maine? Spinning the blossom does nothing. I know. I know. All right. Larry says first class business is the way. I can't ever use economy anymore. I don't know about Canada, but in America, staying away from the riffraff is key to survival. About 10 shootings in Austin this weekend. Really? Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I will say this, Larry. Canada has gotten, like, if you looked at Canada, I would say 20 years ago, I think we've gotten a little more violent in the last 20 years. Things like, shootings or, running cars into crowds. Um, that was like so rare in Canada. Like, you might get something like that, maybe once every 20 years, but now it seems like we get some kind of an event, whether it be a shooting, whether it be somebody running into a car, using their car as a weapon. It seems like we're getting it like every 5 years. Like just recently, I can think of two situations where people drove a van or a car into a group of people, one in Toronto, and I think the other was in Vancouver. So, yeah, it's, I don't know I don't know of a way to stop it, because I think there's always going to be people who are going to, um, I hate to use the word deranged, but I don't know, if you're gonna drive your car into a crowd of people, that kind of feels like that might be a good word for it. TT3, I didn't know you could spin for entries. I got 31. Nice. Yeah, I only found out on Friday, and then I forgot to do it yesterday. All right. Leveraged Life says, happy Sunday. Hey, Leveraged. Does anyone buy gold on Wealthsimple? Good question. Um, I don't currently, but I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's fine to do it if you want to do it. I mean, I like the fact that, it's kind of like a way to get access to gold without, uh, what's the word for it? Without having to hold it or without going through miners. It's kind of access to direct gold, and it's not a bad idea. Scott says Air Canada offers a feature to put in a bid for first class as an upgrade. If they don't fill up first class, they take the highest bidders. Oh, that's interesting. That is definitely interesting. Let's see. Thanks for the reminder in Wealthsimple. I won 1678 entries. Scratch says you can buy physical or paper gold in Wealthsimple. You can buy gold. I think you might even be able to buy physical gold through them. I haven't looked too much into that aspect, but I know that I can gain, I can buy some. I don't want to call it digital gold, because that's different. But I can buy gold and have it sit into my account, and I think they hold the gold. But I haven't looked super amount into it. Anybody who's been playing with the gold on Wealthsimple, throw some information up there for Scratch. Rory says, if I was an airline, I'd be forced into the luggage bay with the pets. Oh, if you was on an airline. Oh, well, keep in mind, too. Guys, if you're ever traveling with your pets, first of all, you want to make sure that there's certain times of the year that you can't fly with your pets. Because at least your pets in the storage area, just because of temperature, and there are some planes that don't have. There's also some planes that don't have it pressurized or something like that. I know there's a whole bunch of different things, because I know I've traveled a lot with one of my former cats. I think she was on the plane with me. 1, 2, I think 4 times. Scott says more leg room and no one else around me. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Scott says, check myself and it has luggage. Bingo, ride the carousel. Ooh, guys, we do have to set up the bingo card. We'll get that going here in a bit. Not the carousel from Logan's Run, unless you want to. TT3, you can buy physical gold that's held at the Royal Canadian Mint, or you can have it delivered to your house. The best gold ETF backed by gold is Sprott's ETF PHYS. Oh, there we go. So there, yeah. See, I thought you could. I wasn't 100% sure. That's why I was asking you guys to sort of verify that. Rory says you can also keep gold in your bank safety deposit box. Let's see. I've bid a couple of times for Premium Economy on Air Canada, but didn't win. Too bad they didn't show how much you need to bid to stay in the game. Yeah, sort of have it set up like eBay, so you can see, oh, somebody just outbid me. Not anymore. And that would, you know what? That would make more money for Air Canada if they set it up that way. So, you know, guys, do it. Scott, I usually bid about 60% of the price. I've won it twice. Okay. Now, what is the difference in price? I've never looked. So if you have an economy ticket and then a first class ticket, like, is it double? Is it triple? You know, how much difference in price? Or does it, obviously, maybe it depends on the length of the trip too, but Rory says going postal in Canada. Let's see, I didn't hear anything about the Caribbean Festival in Toronto this weekend, and it's usually jammed to the point of not being able to move. Well, if it's still going on today, it's probably being rained on. Let's see, it looks like the US 30-year is ready for a big move on the upside. Better to prepare yourselves for an inflation spike. Yeah, now, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going. It really depends. There's so many different moving parts. And this is kind of one of the things that makes it hard to make predictions nowadays, is that there are so many moving parts. Everything from the war. You know, at one point the war looked like it was expanding, but now Trump is sort of saying that there might be the possibility of peace. And we've heard this before. I'm taking it with a chunk of salt, not a grain, a chunk. So we'll see. Roku says, I've been on a couple of seats to Rome and didn't win. Funny thing is, when I got to the gate, I was able to upgrade for a charge. And was the charge less than your bid? That would be kind of funny if it was. Tom said there were a few airline offerings the bid for first class and business class. I know Philippines Airline does it. The U.S. bond market went nuts because Warsh wouldn't provide forward guidance. Yeah, that's his thing. He said he doesn't want to be providing a lot of forward guidance. He wants people to, you know, you can concentrate on the live meetings, but we're not going to give you a lot more outside of that. And that's, you know, once the markets get used to his style, it won't be as much of an issue. Claudia says, hi Candace, thoughts on bank versus BKCL? I know I've compared them at one point. The last time I compared them, I think bank was on top. But, I mean, I think both are fine. I think BK, so actually here, let's pull them both up here for a second. All right, let's get bank. Ooh, actually, you know what? Yeah, all right. I was thinking there was another way we could do it, but I was like, no, I don't want to do it that way. All right, so here we go. Here's bank, and we're going to pull up the 1 year on bank. And I also want to pull up BKCL. So let's just duplicate this. And BKCL. All right, here we go. And we will pull this up as well. And you're going to see that they look pretty darn, yeah, I mean, look at this. They look pretty darn similar, Like, quite literally, look, you can almost not, like, there's almost no movement going back and forth. Now with bank, you are getting a pretty big distribution. So right now they're sitting at 12.287. Now this is deceptively small. And the reason is that this is a 12-month average, and they have just added a significant dividend increase. So this number is going to be higher. You look at BKCL, you'll notice it is a little bit smaller. So you are getting a little bit less, but I think you're getting the same growth, but I think you're getting a little bit more income with bank. So that's kind of been the way I've seen it for a while. And for that reason, I give bank the edge, but honestly, I think both of them are fine. I think you'd be happy with the results of either, but if you were to nickel and dime it, then I think bank will probably be a bit ahead. TT3 for the physical gold, Wealthsimple charges a 1% fee. Okay, well they gotta make some money, and I guess now does that 1% fee is that just on the gold, or are they putting a fee as well as I assume there's going to be transportation costs as well? Like there must probably a charge to ship it to you. But would that 1% fee be on just the gold or on the gold plus the shipping? I'm just kind of curious. Maybe, oh boy, maybe I'm being a stickler. Roku says no, but not a whole lot more than I bid. Maybe $200 if I recall for 2 years. For 2 seats. Scott, yeah, but Warsh was like, we're going to fight inflation, and bond market was like, how? And Warsh was like, crickets. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Yeah, if you come up with a statement saying, yeah, we're going to fight inflation, you want to at least, say, here's how I would have worded that. I would have said, we're going to concentrate on the fight against inflation, see what kind of strategies we can use, perhaps. Just something like that. Leave it more open-ended, and then you don't have that pushback. Zenio says, I like HCal. BNKL for uncapped upside. So it looks like no confidence in the Fed. For the gold, there's probably storage fees from the Royal Mint. Yeah, absolutely. The Royal Mint is not going to, they're not going to store your gold for nothing. There will definitely be storage fees. Warsh is Trump's pick, so yeah, but he has, I will say this, keep in mind, Powell was Trump's pick as well. Right away, I think Trump expected Warsh to come in and sort of say, "Oh yeah, you want the interest rates cut? Sure, I'll get that done for you." That's not who he turned out to be. He's turned out to be like, I don't think he's going to be popular. I don't think he has the charisma that Powell has, but I do think he'll respond to the data. So I'm hoping he turns out to be one of those picks where Trump accidentally picks somebody who's okay. He may be a wet sock, but he may be an okay wet sock. And it may annoy Trump to no end. And that gives me a little bit of joy for some reason. I don't know why. All right, a leveraged. Will August be green or red? Can it be both? I'm gonna say green. I'm gonna say green for the month. But I think I still think we're gonna have a good amount of volatility in there. But I think it's gonna stay green. I think it's gonna stay green. Now, oh boy, September will be it'll be interesting to see how it goes into September. Like it could be a situation where we build up some green like the first 3/4 of the month, and then we finish on a downslide. That could be the situation. But then again, there's so many moving pieces. All it would take is for this war, like if this war in Iraq got completely out of control, like right now it's kind of ludicrous anyway, but if it got beyond ludicrous, we could, it could certainly change things a little bit. I think though, part of the thing is I think the U.S. is running out of weapons. And I think Trump is kind of backed into a bit of a corner where it's like, yeah, we can make all the threats we want, but we're running low on Patriots, and this is why right now they were going to give some more Patriot missiles to Ukraine, and they were actually going to give Ukraine the ability to make their own, and now Trump's kind of backstepped on that. So yeah, I don't think it's going to get. I think we'll have some interesting movements. But I also don't think we're going to get the straight open until after Labor Day. So, yeah, it'll be, now mind you, I do want to point out, all of this oil, we're going to pay for this. The world's going to pay for this. We haven't yet. A lot of countries have emptied reserves, but there's, the reserves only have so much and they're running dry. And, there's going to be an oil crisis. There's no and, if, or buts about it. It's coming. All right. Scratch says, guys, the 30-year broke a 40-year downtrend with an inverse head and shoulder in 2020. Warsh is just reacting in front of the breakout and retest. Okay, fair enough. Now, I will say I don't put a lot of stock into, a head and shoulder or a reverse head and shoulder. Do they sometimes, I just find they can, when they work, they're pretty spectacular, but I think I just don't find them as reliable. I've seen so many of them that haven't worked. A wet sock puppet, not a retest, but a consolidation. Sorry. Okay, fair enough. All right, Ian said, just got here. Did I hear something about some stock pumping oil news? No, I don't think so. Can a reserve be called a reserve if it's empty? Yeah, well, at that point, it's an empty reserve. But yeah, you've made a choice. You have made it, yeah. All right, you know what, guys? Let's head over to Canva for a minute. And where the heck is the bingo? No, that's the Canadian battleship. We need to set up a bingo card. I figure we might as well get started on that. Oh, there's a tic-tac-toe. Oh, here it is. Oh, you know what, guys? I have not emptied it. This was our last bingo. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just empty it here as we move along. So with the bingo, of course. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, there we go. All right, I'm gonna delete these and then we'll, there we go. All right. All right, whoops. That's fine. I don't mind. I'll just delete them. We can remake them. We can remake them. All right, here we go. I'm just getting rid of our winning and losing things here. Oh, well, yeah, well, ow, go away. All right, come on. Oh, did I somehow, oh no, there we go. All right, so yeah, guys, what we're gonna do now, the predictions that we're making. So here's how bingo works. So bingo, we just need to make a line. And the way we do it is we're gonna pick stocks. We're gonna predict whether they go up or down. And then we'll enter them all. We're going to enter them all into this bingo card. If we get a straight line, we get a bingo. If we get a bingo, we bank a show. So as simple as that. It's a way of adding a show to our bank, which is fantastic, because then that gives us a day where we can just say, poof, to the Financial Express. It's like, we don't care. We got a show in the bank. So, we're good. We're good. All right. All right. All right. Now I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna delete these. You know what? It'll just be faster. We can make them as we go. We'll make them as we go. I'll grab a couple. Maybe I'll just grab a couple. All right. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna make our predictions. So what we do today. So this is like a 2-day game. So today we're gonna predict. We're gonna make our predictions. I'll fill out the card. Then market close next day, and that'll be Tuesday because the markets are closed tomorrow. So market close on Tuesday. Whatever state they're in, whether they're up or down, we'll go with the prediction. So we have to get it right. So if we predict HHIS down and it's down, we get one of these purple ones. If it's up, we get a red. So we want to get purple. So we don't get, if we get a bunch of reds in a row, we don't get a bingo for that. We gotta get it right. We gotta get it right. And yeah, and we'll check this out on Tuesday when the market closes. It's fun. It's fun. Scott says, I'm covering the bottom of the card. Scratch says, I don't remember when we play bingo. If it is tomorrow, I think the card makers are closed. Or the Canadian markets. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday. So the way we do it is it's always the next stream. So let's say, for example, let's say the markets were open tomorrow, but we didn't have, let's say we didn't have that one up there. We had a 0 up by the beaver. So we didn't have a bank show. And then we didn't do the Financial Express today. If that happened, then, Tuesday could, actually in that case, it would be Wednesday because we'd have no way to get Tuesday if we didn't get Monday, right? So then, in that case, then Wednesday would be the day. So But right now, we know we have a show tomorrow, Tuesday. We have a show Tuesday. We actually have 2 shows Tuesday, by the way. We also have after hours. Now, that's normally for the channel members, but the first Tuesday of every month, I make it public so everybody can come. So we got two live streams on Tuesday. But for now, we have this. So the way this is going to work is we're going to get you guys to, you can name, it can be a stock, it can be an ETF, whatever you want. Let me know if it's a US, like if you're throwing a US one at me, let me know that it's US. Just in case, because sometimes we may have the same ticker for a Canadian and a US, and they might be completely different companies or different ETFs. If it's Canadian, don't worry, guys. Or if it's any of the normal ones, don't worry. But, you know, if you got some obscure one, because I always get at least one obscure one every time. And, yeah, so just start throwing them in the chat. I will start putting them up. At TA, AMD reports earnings Tuesday. Could that revive the tech sector? Maybe. I think those could be good earnings. Of course, we had 2 really good tech earnings this week, Microsoft and Amazon. All right, so we got our first one in. All right, GSY, and I'm going to put this in here. So GSY, and Samantha says that it's going to be up. So go easy is going to make a bounce. Oh boy. All right, and we've got. There we go. I'm just going to, there we go. The next one, we got HDIV. So let's see, Willard Hamilton. And you want that one to be up as well. Okay, there we go. Let's put it in. All right, so far, you guys are thinking up. Uh-oh, Rory thinks BlackBerry's gonna be down. Oh no. All right, let's put in BlackBerry. All right, and we're going to get a down on BlackBerry. Okay, there we go. There's our first 3. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Let me let's get this thing all filled up. All right, let's see. VIX. Oh, wait a minute, Scratch. Are you talking about the VIX? Like, you're saying the VIX is gonna, well, the VIX is like, the VIX is an exchange, though. Just double check on that, because, yeah, I can't do an exchange. But is there an actual ticker with that? Is there a ticker called VIX? I'll double check. I will double check. Oops, let's go over here. I don't mind double checking. Or is there an actual ETF that follows the VIX? Well, there's the SVIX futures. Guys, let's stay out of the 1x, or sorry, the 2x, all of the inverse stuff here. Okay, so yeah, I think the VIX. I think you're talking. I'm pretty sure Scratch is talking about the VIX, opposed to a thing. All right, I'm gonna move over here. SpaceX. Down. Okay, that might be a safe. That might be a safe bet. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, SpaceX. Yeah. All right, there we go. We got SpaceX down. TELUS down. All right. Yeah, of course, TELUS just cut their dividend by 55%. So there could be some residual downness going on there. So yeah, that could be a really smart play. Whoops, Patrick says ENCL up. All right. All right, let's get an ENCL. There we go. ENCL, here we go. And we're gonna go up. Up. Okay. Biggie down. Interesting. Of course, Rory. Biggie actually had a pretty good day on Friday, but I think it did. Maybe it didn't. For some reason, I feel like Biggie was up on Friday. Actually, you know what? Let's double check. I thought Biggie was up on Friday. No, it wasn't. It must have been Thursday. Biggie was down 1.78. Okay. Glad I checked. All right. Oh, where is my bingo? Over here. Okay. So Biggie down, up on the New York Stock Exchange, down, up. All right. All right. Let's go up. We'll try that again. Up. And I'm just going to put a little U here in brackets after that, up. That way there, I know it's on the New York Stock Exchange. And which way were you going to say? Up on the New York, up is down. All right. Oh boy. That's not something I expected to say today. Yeah, guys, up is down. That's actually kind of funny. ATZ, up. All right, all right. Aritzia is up. All right, let's take a look here. ATZ. No. All right, there we go. Let's move it all over. And you were saying up. There we go. All right, Aritzia up. We got Aritzia. SU up. All right. So Suncor is up. All right, SU, bang. All right, SU. All right, we'll get this in here. I'm glad you said SU and not a different letter. Okay, SU up. We got that. HHIS, dealer's choice. HHIS, dealer's choice. Oh boy, that means I get to choose. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say down. I'll say down. All right, there we go. But you can't yell at me because you chose my choice. So yeah, definitely down. All right, guys, let's keep them coming. Yes, a bit of a joke entry, but it's all a crap shot anyway. Yeah, fair enough. Bank up. All right. Let's get bank in here. All right. There we go. There is bank. And bank is up. All right. I'm just going to drop in a couple more of these arrows. There we go. Fin down. All right. All right. Fin. All right. Fin is down. Let's get a down arrow here. Oh, I probably should make a few more down arrows. There we go. QQCL down. All right. Oh, boy. All right. Let's see here. QQCL. All right. So everybody's hoping the NASDAQ has a bad day on Tuesday. All right. So we got a few more left here. Enbridge. There we go. All right, Enbridge up. Okay. We got Enbridge up. All right, we need 9 more, folks. 9 more, and then also our wild card. So we technically need 10 more. All right. So we got. Keep them coming, guys. Otherwise, YouTube might throw ads out if we have a lull in these coming in. Which is funny. If ads do pop up now, guys, let me know. I'm kind of curious. And I think the lull comes from your end. It doesn't come from my end because I can keep talking. I can talk through anything. But what can I say? All right, so we got Enbridge up. Nobody's picked MSTE yet. I'm surprised. MOS up. What is MOS? All right, I have to look at this one, Scratch. I'm going to look because I don't know what it is. MOS. I got Mo. What is MOS? I don't know what MOS is, Scratch. Because yeah, if I completely have never heard of it, I'm gonna be like, I need to be able to find it to tell if it is up or not. So what is MOS? The Mosaic Company. Oh my gosh. Okay. MOS ACI. Mosaki. iShares. No, no, no. That's okay. Try company. Oops, company. All right. Okay, so I can't find it on here. Let me just double check that I can get it to it on Yahoo Finance. All right. Because it's important that I can actually look at it. MOS. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here it is, right here. The Mosaic. Oh, it's AIC. Okay. The Mosaic Company, MOS. Okay. All right, let's put them in. All right, MOS. And I'll put a little U in there as well. All right, so MOS, wait a minute, which direction was that? Up. MOS, here we go. MOS, up. All right, we got that. PLTE down. All right. PLTE. That might be a really good choice. That might be a really good choice, Sky. MU down, Micron. All right. Oops. All right, Micron. And you said down, okay. Micron down, okay. Rory says MSTE down. All right. MSTE. And just need a couple more of these downers. Oh, that sounds like I'm doing drugs. I need a couple more downers. All right. Patrick says C-Day up, H yield down. I see. I see. All right. Okay. All right. Let's I'll let you have both, Patrick. So C-Day up. There we go. And H yield down. Okay. All right. There we go. We're getting to the end. Pizza down. All right. All right. PZA. All right. Let's bring in. Whoa, come on. Drag. There we go. PCA down. So pizza down. All right. So we need 3 more. MSTE down will probably fill my order. An MSTE order fill is good, but also bad. Karate check. CGXF. All right. All right. CGXF. Here we go. And you're saying down. Okay. Let's put this in. All right. Rosie said, ads are displaying in split screen, muting the live stream. Okay, perfect. Rory says, pizza will be supper tonight. All right, 60 up. All right, perfect. There we go. Okay, so we got 60 up. I'm going to put this over here, and, oops. I need another arrow. Okay. Now we have one bonus one, and Scratch is in with here. Okay, IVN. There's our bonus. IVN. And it's up. All right, I'll put our bonus right down here. So the way the bonus works, guys, is if we don't get a bingo, but we're 1 away from a bingo. So let's say we got 4 in a row, but we got 1 wrong. That's where the bonus comes in. If you get the bonus right, you can replace any one of these on the board with the bonus. So it's like a second chance. So, but you got to have 4 in a row. You got to have 4 in a row. Obviously, this will be the easy row here, or this one. We actually, well, we can do diagonal too. I mean, you got the 2 diagonals. So yeah, those work. So yeah, all you got to do is, so basically all you got to do is get 4 in a row and get this right, or just get 5 in a row and win the show. Win the show. Simple as that. I think we lost last time. So maybe we can win. All right. Leverage says, got to go start making our homemade pizzas for dinner. Have a great week all. Ooh, nice Leveraged. I like a good homemade pizza, that's for sure. All right. And let's see. Scratch says, I'm really bad in the short term. Some can pick my pick for a better chance to win. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. We're in. It's in. It's in. It is in. Well, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. I'm sure, that's why we have. And I think this is a really good pick. I think the IVN. Because one thing is, even when materials has been struggling, copper lately has been actually doing a little better. And IVN does have a good of exposure to copper. So IVN could actually be a really good pick for the wild card. I like it. I actually like that pick quite a bit. So there we go. We are now all ready. Rory says, let's pick lottery numbers. I can pick. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll pick some lottery numbers. Guys, feel free to use these. I'm not going to use them. I don't gamble. But I will pick you a lottery. I'll pick you the winning. I can't say it's the winning. I'll pick you some losing numbers that might win if the world turns itself upside down. All right, here. Let me do it. We'll just scroll. We're going to scroll down and we're going to come up with all right. So let me see here. All right. So I need, what do we need? 6 numbers, right? Between 1 and 49. Let's go with, all right. There you go. There's one right away. All right. So there's one, a 15. 15. All right. Let's see. What's our next number going to be? Okay, 74. We'll reverse that. So 47. There we go. I'm kind of like picking these without actually looking at the number pad. That's how I got 74. All right. Let's see. What's our next number? Let's see here. Oh, I feel like a single number. Let's see. Let's do this one. What did I just click on? Oh, where is my, oh, yeah, I did. It was a 4. All right, so there we go. So we got 4, 15, 47. All right, we need another one. All right, there we go. Let me just see here. Oh, all right, a 33. We got a 33 in there. Holy banana bread. All right, what do we need? 2 more? 2 more. Okay. What's that? Okay. All right, 19. All right. We got 1 more. All right. All right. I need to highlight over this. I got my eyes shut as I'm doing this. I'm just all right, there we go. 29. All right, so here's your numbers. 4, 15, 29. Wait. 15, 19, 29, 33, 47. So there you go. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. If you go out and you put a whole bunch of money on these numbers, don't come back and say, Candace, you idiot. You gave me the wrong numbers. Because like I said, I'm saying these are probably losers. But if you want to for fun, feel free. I will just say this. I'm going to say this. If you use these numbers for fun and you win $1,000,000, there's a little button in here. It's called Gift 50 Subs. If you win $1,000,000, I want to come in here and see, I just want to see like the screen just scrolling with 50 new channel members. So that's the deal. If you win $1,000,000 or more, you got to come back and you got to click on the Gift 50 Subs. And then we'll call it even. We'll call it even. All right. Scott says 1. Let's not and say we did. Yeah. Let's have a group ticket in Lotto Max. Maybe we can turn around the bad luck of Candace and Wealthsimple's Monthly Millionaire. I know. I have a lot of bad luck in Wealthsimple's Monthly Millionaire. I can't even win free tickets. Now I can. Now that they've given me that spinny thing. A says, hi, Candace. Lost quite a lot with TELUS. Do you see more downside? Any potential for it to go up with the dividend cut? Okay. I think TELUS is close to the bottom. It might have a little bit more room to go down, but not a lot. I think it's a slow recovery, though. That's the thing. So if you're holding it and you're deep in the red, you're probably going to be deep in the red for a while. I think it's going to take a while to climb out. But I do think the dividend cut is going to be healthy overall for them. So there is hope. But I will say this one thing. If you had a stock that was in a similar situation that was temporarily down, but you thought was going to move pretty quickly because maybe it was in a better sector, sometimes a sideways move is not a bad thing. So it's just something to keep in mind, obviously. But I think if you're in no hurry, like if you're a long-term investor and you're like, yeah, as long as they're up in 20 years or so, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. Scratch says 67. Don't. Isn't it $5 for money now for a $6.49 ticket? Good grief. Is it $5? I thought it was $1. That's, like I said, I have not bought a lotto ticket in like forever. I mean, and probably the last time I bought a lotto ticket is pretty much to put into somebody's card because they were deep into the lotto. Inflation, let's see, Ontario Lottery Corporation greed. Prairie, I win $6.49 every week I don't play. I walk away with money in my pocket. There we go. Better bet to buy the dip for CCO. I think CCO is going to be huge. Like Saskatchewan, for one, and I keep talking about this, but Saskatchewan uranium, it's the best in the world. And part of it is, it's really, really pure. And it's also a very dense deposit. So what I mean by that is if you were to take an excavator and you pull up an excavator of ore from Saskatchewan and you do the same thing from anywhere else in the world, you're actually going to have more uranium per excavator bucket in Saskatchewan than you're going to get anywhere in the world. So basically it becomes more efficient. You can pull out, you can refine and get the uranium cheaper than anywhere else in the world. And the fact that it's top, that it's like very, very good quality, that's just nothing more than, that's like a lot of icing on that cake, on that glow-in-the-dark cake. But it's still a cake nonetheless. Rory said, in my early 20s, I bought a lot of 649s. What a waste. Yes. I did that thing, and I know one of you did it as well. I was convinced once when I was like about 19. It's like, if I bought just 100 Instapicks, I gotta win maybe 10 of them to give me my $10 back. And then maybe there's a chance I could win more. So I thought I could do it. I did not win my $100 back. I think, did I even get one? I don't know if I even got one. I think I might have gotten one, but It was like it was a long time ago. So, oh God, but it was a disaster nonetheless. It taught me a lesson. Never do that again. Scratch. I can't help myself to buy from time to time, and I feel like the margin calls are about to give some great entry points. Feels like I don't have enough cash at the moment. Well, going to the lotto is not going to get you there, but Scott says MSTE. That's the investors 649. I know that you're harsh on MSTE, Scott, but I gotta say, um, I followed Bitcoin for a long time, and Bitcoin will recover, and that will help strategy. Like quite literally, the type of things I'm hearing today with people talking about strategy, I was hearing them say these same things back in 2022 before everything recovered. Um, and everything will recover, and everybody will be happy again, and everybody will be pro MSTE, pro strategy, all of these other things. And then it will fall again, and we will hear the exact same things again in a couple of, probably 3 years or so. Roy says something in me convinces me to always stay away from any Bitcoin holdings. Fair enough. Fair enough. No, it's not a tick. Well, what's not a tick? Um, are you talking about? There's so many connotations for that. Are you talking about like a tick, as in, like when you're day trading? A lot of times you're playing ticks, so just ticks in the price, or maybe there was I don't know, a jerky motion. That could be a tick. Or it could be an actual little bug. Ugh, those are terrible. I've seen one outside, but that's the only one I've ever seen. Luckily, I've never seen one on any of the pets. Now, I do use Advantage, but here's the thing. I think Advantage, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Advantage doesn't kill a tick if the tick is in the fur, but it just prevents the tick from feeding on the pet. So I think if an animal went outside with Advantage on and came back in, I think it could still bring a tick in. I think the tick just wouldn't feed off the pet. Maybe it'll feed off of me. I don't know. Scott says I'm harsh on any ETF that has a yield higher than 15%. That's fair. That's absolutely. I think it's not a bad rule. I always say, if it's more than 15%. Now there are exceptions, but you want to look at it harder if it's more than 15%, because to me, that's that aggression line. So when you start going above 15%, that becomes a bit of an issue. Now there are exceptions. Like I wouldn't hold a split core to the same rule, for example. But there's other things I would hold with a split core for sure. Let's see. Scratch says, let's see if crypto is linked to the tech run. I am the camp that the cryptos will struggle at the same time the NASDAQ is. The bug. Oh, yikes. Yeah. I'm not a fan. Tom says, as a day trader, did you do well? I had days. I will say this. Day trading, I found I left more on the table sometimes. And why is because things are moving so fast, you end up just snatching little bits, and all those times where it does absolutely explode, sometimes you miss. So I think it's easy to miss a moonshot when you're doing day trading. It's also a lot more stressful because you're kind of just watching and watching. With swing trading, like I can set up my trades and I can just drop in, like quite literally, a lot of times I can just drop in the limit orders for where I want it to go, where I want to sell. And I can then go and I can be editing or I can be doing something else. Not so much with day trading. Day trading, maximum stress, maximum pressure. It's a rough way to go. I think if doing swing trading, you find that, you're making enough money, that then I wouldn't even look at day trading, to be honest, at that point. But, maybe you are. Some people are really good at day trading. And, that's fine. If you are one of those people, that's fantastic. But of people who actually day trade, About 85% of people who try day trading are not successful. So you got to be a little bit careful, and you can lose money really fast sometimes too. So it's kind of you have to have a lot of discipline. That's for sure. But mind you, as a swing trader, you can drift into a day trade. If you find something, that's happening like quickly, you can move in, buy something. You may be out in an hour. So you will still have a little bit of a flow in, but you've set it up so that way there you've got longer. You just have a longer, less stressful adventure. Let's see. Rory says 15% is my limit, although Utes is a bit higher. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's going to be exceptions. So, but my rule is if it's above it, so something like Utes, it means I'll watch it a little bit. I'll go in, I'll look, and I'll make sure. Okay, what is it doing? I will look and see, is it keeping pace with the underlying assets? So that to me is going to be important. If it's, so for example, if you have, if you had an S&P 500 ETF covered call, highly aggressive covered calls, and it had a yield of 17%. Now, if I go and look at the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 is, moving up slightly, then I look at this thing and it's moving down slightly, I'm going to be like, okay, we got a problem right away. So, but, if the S&P is moving down slightly and it's moving down slightly, I'm okay with that. I just need to have it moving in the same direction as that fund. Now, with that being said, though, if it was moving down slightly and I go and look at the ETF and it's moving down really, really heavy, then I got a problem, except for on ex-dividend day, because ex-dividend day, it will move down more because of that. So I take everything into consideration to sort of look at the big picture between the two so that I can compare how it's behaving compared to the underlying assets. All right, Scratch. Looks like retail is buying out the smart money out of tech. And Scott says, I'm happy to sell if something around $20 per share moves by $1. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. So the next 0 to 100K challenge, I was looking at it, and I know last time, I was holding, I think, 36. So I think I was holding 36 in that portfolio. Well, I did clean it up a little bit. So I actually sold a couple. I sold one. One of the things I sold out of a position is going to shock you guys. It will be a shock because it's one of these ones that you'll probably think, yeah, I didn't think you'd ever sell that one. But yeah, I basically, I wanted to narrow it down to 35. So I was thinking, if I'm doing it as a countdown each month on this, on the 0 to 100K challenge, I was like, oh, I should expand it to 40. And I was like, well, you know what? 40 is a bit too much. I'm much more comfortable at 35. So yeah, going forward, I think we're gonna keep it at 35. And anytime I add something new, I got to sell something to make room for it. Oh my God, it's sounding like the pure Polyev version of investing. A dollar saved means a dollar spent. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it at 35. I might drift a little bit. Obviously, if I buy something that I think is really, really good, and I don't have any options to sell, well, then I will go up a little bit. But I think I'm going to aim to try to keep the balance around 35. Scott says moves up. Utes is more income oriented than ENCL, right? Yes, Utes is 100% income oriented. So with Utes, you shouldn't really expect growth. You might get it occasionally, but for the most part, it is, it is pretty aggressively written. It's designed to give you a lot of income. Scott says, is it FTG? It's been sideways for a while. Yes, that is one of the two. There were two that I thought you might find surprising. So Farron Technology Group, that is one. I actually get the profits off of that one were not too shabby. So yes. Wow. I'm impressed. Scott, that was a good guess. Prairie, my daughter is a vet tech. She says with some tick prevention, ticks die just by crawling on the pet. Other Other after they bite, all depends on the medical history or owner preference. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So, like, yeah, I mean, I use Advantage too, and it's pretty darn expensive. I'll tell you, I wish there was a cheaper option to keep that off, because I bet you it probably is costing me for the 3 cats, I would say $50 a month, because normally the thing I buy, it's about $100 and it gives me 2 months worth. So six, three for two for each. Tom, you're right about taking profits. I saw too many holdings I've had where my book cost was half of the market, only to see it dip down past my book cost. Yeah, so sometimes it doesn't hurt to take profits, for sure. Rory, fall is on its way, so we'll see maple bugs coming again. What's a maple bug? I don't know what a maple bug is. It's time for Candace Google stuff. What the heck is a maple bug? Maple bug. All right, maple bug spray. All right, what's a maple bug? Let's just take a look. Oh, I think I've seen these before. All right. Where do these things? The Western box holder. All right, maple bugs. Are they harmful? So they're not dangerous. Okay, they don't transmit disease and can be handled safely. And they apparently don't taste good. Okay, that's good. I don't plan to eat any. All right. So what's the lowdown? Why are people concerned? Are they just, do they get in your house or something, Rory? I've never. I think I've seen one outdoors maybe once. It looks familiar, but yeah. Let's see. Half. I think you'd stay or increase MDA, but bird. Now you're trying. You're trying. I will tell you right now, bird is not, I did not sell bird. I will just say this. Whatever I sold, it's because I can gain exposure another way. So if I had a stock that perhaps I had an ETF that holds a stock, I could sell that individual stock and move more into the ETF. So that will be that will be the thing. Scratch says, "Oh my God, we had an invasion last year of those bugs." Yeah, I don't. I mean, like, I don't even know 100% if I've even seen one. I'm just saying it looks familiar. Who figured out they don't taste good? That I don't know. Samantha, those maple bugs get in the house. Tons of them every year. Hate them. At least they don't bite. Okay. All right. So they get in your house, and then you have to get rid of them, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, those bugs come in hordes around your house. Saskatchewan is full of them in the fall. Manitoba doesn't seem to have them. Maple bug. All right, maple bug, Ontario. Let's see if we get them here. I don't know. Okay. Apparently they can be in Ontario. I guess they gather on maple and ash trees during warmer months and invade homes in the fall. All right. Oh, they apparently, if you crush them, they smell really bad too. According to most users on Reddit, agree that Manitoba maple trees are the primary source of these guys. So it sounds like you get a lot more in the prairies than here. Okay, interesting. You can vacuum them up with a shop vacuum. Okay. Because you don't want to crush them. Okay. Understood. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Samantha says, we used to have an old maple tree by the house. I think that's where they were coming from originally. Tree is gone, but my wood house is their new favorite. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. The only thing, I think, the only infestation we've had here is, and you know what? This year we haven't. But the last couple of years, we had some tiny ants that were getting in the front, in like in the living room. And I'd just put an ant trap down, and that'd be it. They'd be gone, and then I wouldn't see them again. This year, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any at all. Maybe they wised up, and it's like, yeah, that place uses an ant trap. Let's not go there this year. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That and the occasional housefly. Actually, I was proud of myself yesterday. I actually caught one in my hand. I was like, whoa, I actually caught that one. I carried it outside and released it outside, but, so it can go bug somebody else's house. But yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. What can I say? Holy banana bread. Whew. Oh, speaking of that 0 to 100K challenge, so that won't be coming out on Tuesday. That'll be coming out on Friday. Tuesday, had a conversation with Carl, so we're going to drop that on Tuesday. And that's pretty awesome. We had a good conversation. Carl's fun to talk to, so gotta say. And he does actually. I better check. They sent me back a couple things I have to delete. Maybe it's. I was gonna sort of point you guys at one point of the video, but maybe that part got deleted because he kind of gave some lowdown on some new products, and maybe he wasn't allowed to. Let's see. Scratch says we have maple trees everywhere, and it was the first time I noticed this kind of bug last year. Try catching the flies with chopsticks. Daniel Sung. It's hard. I will tell you one thing. If you ever are trying to catch a fly with your hands, keep your fingers open, because otherwise you create a wall of air as you come in and it will just push the fly away. So it'll make it hard to catch. But if your fingers are spread open, the air can at least move between your fingers, so you have less air that you're pushing at the fly. So you have a better chance. And also, don't aim for the fly. This is the key. I used to be very good at catching flies. Don't ask me what. Well, because, I've lived in places where house flies were so common, but I got really good at it. And my key thing was keeping my fingers spread open and not aiming for the fly. I aim for where I think the fly is going to go when it tries to escape. So anticipate where the fly is going, aim for that. And then I think that increases your chances of catching the fly better. Of course, if you really just want to be successful and you don't want to waste any time, get a fly swatter. They work really well. Rory says paint defense. Both SY. Patrick, I guess financial stuff is over. Well, if you have questions. Not if you have questions. Yeah, it is a weekend. On a long weekend, one of the things that we, Rory says stream ends soon. Sometimes on the long weekends, we don't go the full 2.5 hours. It just depends. It really boils down to you guys. If we got stuff to talk about, we keep going. If we don't, we end. I think we had one long weekend. Oh my gosh, which one was it? I think it was last year. Probably, it might have been this one. I don't know, last year. That only went about an hour and a half. I think that's really short for this week. But yeah, so if we run out of stuff, we'll end it soon, or we'll end it sooner, or if we keep talking, it's up to you guys. I always look at this like keep the topics coming, financial, non-financial, whatever. It's a long weekend. There's nothing wrong with chilling. There's nothing wrong with chilling. Speaking of chilling, did any of you guys catch Spider-Man this weekend? Like, it is absolutely blowing away stuff. So one of the big things is with the pandemic. So the pandemic, since then, we just haven't been able to, like, the Hollywood hasn't been able to hit the really big opening weekend numbers until now. Until now. So before the pandemic, the record, of course, the best opening weekend ever was Avengers. Which one was it? Endgame? I think it was Endgame. And it finished with like 357. So it had an opening weekend of 357 million. That's the best we've ever seen. Well, the early estimates that came out today have this new Spider-Man movie coming in with 355. So almost like getting within 2 million of the record. And, and that number still has to be, it's still going to be tinkered with a little bit as today's numbers filter in more. But that's incredible. That's incredible. you know, if movie theaters were looking for a good sigh of relief, they got it this year. And they're probably going to get big numbers in December when Doomsday comes out. So, but yeah, so guys, and I'm thinking of this because Xenial mentioned spiders. Did any of you guys get out to see it? I did not. I was, I wanted to, but I didn't. Rory says stream ends soon. Xenial, and this is the spiders. Spiders are the best pest control and are low maintenance roommates. Yes, I've got some spiders living in here. So typically, there's a spider in the bathroom, typically. And it's up, like my ceilings, they're about, I don't know, I would say 10 feet, but I'd say about 8 feet, 9 feet. So they're up there. They're really up there. And the beautiful thing is that they leave everything alone. They got their little webs up there in the corner, and obviously they're eating stuff, so I don't mind leaving them. Now, sometimes if they start coming down and getting in my space, well, yeah, I don't like. But if they stay up there and I know they're eating something, I'm like, I don't know what you're eating, but thank you. Scott says short stream, long weekend. Maybe. Well, I haven't shut up yet. Scratch says, okay, will this week bring us more drama out of the Kospi and the Japanese yen carry trade, or is it over? Japan. I feel like it's going to die down for about a month, at least a month, but we'll see. There's going to be some people that are going to still go on about it, but I think for the most part, I think the markets aren't going to really be focused on it for the next month at least. Canada created real life spider goats. Oh, you got to like a spider goat. Actually, Scott, since you bring that up, hold on, guys. We made this, I think, on an after hours, but let me see if I can find it. Oh, boy. This is going to be fun. If I can find it now. All right. Let me see here. All right. Oh, I can find it. Here we go. Let me pull it up. Spider goat. And I got Spider Goat 2. There we go. So here are our 2 spider goats. So, yeah, we were playing around one night. Now this one here, there's this little bit of extra webbing in the back. I'm like, I don't know what that's all about. But I really like this second one. We were playing with it. It's kind of darker. Not every hero wins. Some just keep going. It's sad. It's sad. The spider goat looks like it's been through a lot. But there you go. I'm pretty sure we did that on an after hours. I'm pretty sure. All right. Oh, our Toronto, Candace. Then let me ask. I am considering C-Day as a bit of a defensive play. Do you think it is good for that? All right. So the first thing I will say about C-Day is that it's based on the Hamilton Champions line. So they have a CMVP. That's the underlying ETF that it's holding. So I love the champion lines. I think they're really well put together. So this is a Hamilton ETF, and I think it's a really good place to act as a foundation. So what we're seeing with these is you got CMVP as your underlying. Then they're writing, so they're taking that, they're writing covered calls. Actually, it's not even, it is covered calls, but it's 0 day to expire, so 0 DTE. So basically, they're utilizing that to make much shorter options, like quick options, and they can also capitalize on some of the movement that happens between the markets. It's worked really well. So Q-Day, S-Day, and C-Day, of course. They've all had really, really good success because of that. So I like it. I like it a lot. There is a new one, B-Day. That's a little bit different. Now, I do want to talk also a little bit. So with C-Day, you've got 25% leverage. So that leverage, it's not buying more CMVP. It's actually buying VOO, VOO, which is the Vanguard S&P 500. So it's like VFE, but it's the US version. So you are getting a little bit of U.S. stability in there. So they're using U.S. for that extra 25%, and I'm okay with that actually. It's, you are getting, it's not bad. I mean, it's the biggest economy in the world, so why not? So I do like it quite a bit, and so far they've done really, really, really well. I actually recently did I think a 1 year, because C Day, Q Day, and S Day hit 1 year. So I do have a video, and actually, you know what? I don't know if you've watched it yet or not, but I think it would be, I think it would be, I think it would very much answer your question. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it for you. I'll grab that link. Daymax, 1 year later. Here we are. Yeah, perfect. You probably already watched it, but if you haven't, I'm going to drop it in here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, definitely check that out as well. I think it's a good choice. But whether I think it's a good choice, it's up to you. You have to figure out if you think it's a good choice. You always want to, you always want to start with your research and make sure that it works with your level of risk. And I think it's a really good ETF, though. I think it's definitely worth looking at for sure. Prairie, with all our elm trees, Winnipeg is constantly battling Dutch elm disease from the native elm bark beetle. Holy cow. Yeah, Dutch elm. You don't hear about that as much anymore, but I think it's still a pretty big problem for sure. It's a regular Starship Troopers constant bug fight in Canada. It is. Spider Goat 2 looks, I know. Well, that's because, I think when we were making it, we wanted it to be a sequel where Spider Goat lost. It's sort of fighting inner demons, sort of like, like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2, where, he lost his powers because of, all of the stress and stuff. Would you like to learn more? Would I like to learn more? I always want to learn more. The spider goat on the left must be a... Oh, all right. Scratch. You just earned something. You just earned the laughing goat. Yep, the goats are always waiting to come out, but you earned the laughing goat. That was great. Oh, yeah, Prairie, LOL. Rory, I survived MSTE, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt or a tea holder. Oh, boy. C-Day sounds seedy. Seedy? How does it... Oh. All right, I got it. Let's see. One guy has another shirt that says, I'm with stupid, with an arrow pointing at the MSTE holder. Oh, come on. That's not nice. Poor Gary. Sorry. Gary, if you're watching, you know I love you. Scott says, I have a B-day soon. When's your birthday, Scott? When's your birthday? Mine's in September, but I'm just curious when yours is. Rory says too far. Spider Michael Saylor goat. Well, that would be kind of funny. A Spider Michael Saylor goat. So we could have a part spider, part Michael Saylor, part Sailor Moon, part goat. Oh boy, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yep. Hey, yep. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you since the beginning of the stream. A Hamilton ETF usually creates interesting ETFs for sure. Yeah, no. Hamilton has they really, really, they like a level of defensiveness. I will definitely say that. They do like a level of defensiveness in their videos, in their ETFs. And they've got some really good ones. Like, for example, Mix. That's a really good ETF. You're getting a little bit of, you're getting some gold. You're getting some fixed income in there. It's a solid ETF, for example. But yeah, they have some really good ones like that. And obviously, two of my favorites, HDIV and HYield, they have those as well, of course. Our Toronto, that's comprehensive. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Let's see, Rory, LOL. 6 cents for snacks and danger. I like that. Part Michael Saylor seller. Ralph Wiggum in a fire. I'm in danger. Adventure Time meme. RMAX and AMAX were the first two ETFs I bought from Hamilton after I watched your videos around 1 or 2 years ago. Okay. Um, yeah, like right now, I still hold RMAX. And of course, AMAX has exposure to gold. Like right now, I still hold RMAX in the 0 to 100K challenge. I have no intention of selling it. I still love what RMAX does. I think it is really good if you want a very diversified exposure to REITs. So one of the things I love about RMAX is that you're getting 50% exposure to Canadian REITs. The other 50% is giving you exposure to US REITs. So you're getting you're getting two markets. And to me, even when REITs suffered a little bit not that long ago, RMAX, sure, yeah, it still suffered, but it has bounced back pretty well. In fact, all right, goats. Until next time, let's head over to RMAX for a second because I really like this one. I really like it. It's one of these ones I held it even through the rotten months. I held it. Now it was down 1.17 on Friday, but here I'm gonna pull this up here. One thing you can see right here is like, and I'm going to go to the 3-year because it's not that much older. So you can see here's where it launched. It launched down here right around 16. Right now it is up from where it launched. It launched at the exact right time. When it launched, that was when we were getting all of those rate cuts. REITs love rate cuts, and it exploded because of it. And then we had another stimulus that pulled it back down. Basically, the immigration laws changed. So with the immigration changes, when Trudeau announced that, REITs don't like that when all of a sudden there's less people and it sort of crushes some of the demand for real estate. And it certainly did impact. And then since then it's been moving sideways, and that's fine. Like I look at it this way, like that's kind of what this design. I don't know how much growth I'm going to get with this one. I think I'll get a little over time, and that's what I have seen. But it's giving me, I look at this one as being mostly for the income. A little bit of growth is nice, and so far we've had a little bit of growth. Would I like to see it back up here? I'd love to see it back up here in the 18s, but nonetheless, I'm okay with it. If it keeps going sideways, I'm okay. It's sort of, I'm kind of putting it in that same thing as Utes for the moment. Let's see. Scott says it's later this week. Oh, I'm in danger. Our Toronto. Regarding the strike, I didn't realize WestJet provided our flight entertainment, but I'm with full payment for the time worked. Yeah. Well, it's kind of where I went back to earlier. Like I think if we gave them actually did it as a yearly salary, taking into consideration that sometimes they'll get through fast, sometimes they won't. Find sort of a fair middle ground for that. I think that would work. So I don't know obviously I don't think that's what they're negotiating. I think they're going to negotiate sort of something to keep everybody happy for the moment, but I would rather have a full-on solution. Scott says 6 decades, Trump's term. Sometimes it feels that way, guys. It certainly does. Oh boy. Guys, if you have your last minute questions, now's the time to get it in. Everybody thought that we were going to end at an hour and a half or I don't know, or when, but we're still going. We're still going. If you got your last minute questions, though, get them on in. We don't know when this is going to end. It could end in 15 minutes. It could end in 30 minutes. It could end in, now it's a holiday. We're not going to go more than 2.5 hours. That's for sure. I'm not even concerned about oil right now because normally at this time we are, I was going to say, normally at this time we're looking forward to oil, but oil's already opened. All right, let's go look. I have a feeling that oil will be in the red. It should be down. All right, let's see here what we got. Where's my oil at? Where's my oil? Oh, that's because I was going the wrong direction. Oh, I'm in the swing list. Duh. I'm like, where's the oil? Okay, here we go. So yeah, oil is down. This is exactly what I was kind of expecting. So look at this, WTI right now. Look at this, it dropped down big time. So it dropped 6.83%. So currently we're sitting at $80.21 a barrel. Brent, it dropped 8.8%. Here we go, right over here. So we're, $86.55. So big green day on the market tomorrow for the U.S. markets. All right, and Holy banana bread. We got a super coming in from the wonderful Scratch. Just a heads up to show appreciation. Wish everyone big green candles this week, or big red followed by double bottoms to get the stocks you like. There we go. Well, thank you very much, Scratch. And guys, that's a $5 super chat. Gotta love it. And Scratch, is there a particular goat you want to see? Because you know what? I'll give you. I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? Let's do this one. It's our Tim Hortons and Moose. There we go. All right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So thank you very much. All right, now back to Rory. What ETF are you looking at this week, Candace? It's a great question. I'm probably going to be watching a couple. So, you know, it's not whether or not I'm going to buy them. It's more or less I'm interested to see what they're going to do. So if we get this big green, that right now oil is sort of indicating, I want to watch Biggie. I want to see, because I want to sort of ascertain, because I've been rough on Biggie, because Biggie has not. Well, here, let me show you. Let's head over here to Biggie for a second. Biggie has been one of those disappointments. It's one of them ones that has been behaving in a manner I don't like to see. This is something that turns me off when I see it. And this is what I'm looking at. It's been a straight ride down for Biggie. Now, I've complained and I have mentioned Evolve. They're a good company. They will reorganize. And they did. They've added a whole bunch more underlying assets to Biggie. They've added stuff for stability. So what I want to see from Biggie is I want to see it, especially if we can get the NASDAQ moving up, because Biggie's very tech heavy. I want to see this starting to move up, or at the very least moving flat. So if I can see those, then it will give me an indication that Biggie is starting to behave a little bit. And we're going to come back here to the 1 month. And you can see right now, we did get a little bit of movement the last time the NASDAQ went up a bit. So I want to see a bit more. If we could have, oh boy, if we could just have a full green week with the NASDAQ drifting up, this would be great for me to sort of give me a little bit of an idea if Biggie is turning themselves around. Because you guys remember, Canny was on my bad list, but they turned themselves around. They added more stuff to it. They added CNQ to it, for example, and Inti seems to be turning around a little bit too lately. I don't know if they actually changed anything in Inti or not, but that might just be the market itself. Now, it was down on Friday, but I'm just going to pull up the 1 year. You can sort of see that Inti, after this initial disappointment, they seem to be stabilizing. They seem to be moving mostly forward, slightly up, actually, a little bit, very slightly. I'm going to still call this flat. That's what I want to see, because if we can see more of that, then when you look at something like their new one, Easy, that's holding Biggie, Canny, and Inti, then we might be able to start seeing it move in the direction I think they want. And I think these ultra yields, I think Evolve really, really likes them. So I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get these moving in the right direction. So I'm hoping I'm right on that, though. I'm definitely hoping I'm right. You asked but didn't understand the reply. What? I don't even know what I asked. That's the problem. Sometimes I ask something and it gets so out of context by the time I might get an answer a little bit down the road, and I'm like, what? All right, our Toronto. I will add that WestJet has already budgeted the airline's operations based on engines on times. That's why, and that's complicating things. It's more logistics than principle. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the whole thing. And that's when I was talking about them starting to fly again. There's so much logistics involved in that. It's quite an operation for sure. So yeah, that's why I'm saying even if tomorrow, well, maybe not tomorrow, but even if Tuesday, this strike were to end, I don't think we'd be flying. I think the earliest, if everything went perfect, would be probably the following Monday, if everything went perfect. And how often does that happen? A Scratch, the window to get in cheap Canadian oil is closing in. Don't miss this opportunity. Yeah, yeah. Oil's going to go up, guys. It will absolutely be going up. We have an oil shortage. The market just, investors haven't been looking at that yet. They're more or less looking at what's happening geopolitical. They're not looking at the big picture. So the big picture is, as I mentioned earlier, the reserves are empty. The world is facing an oil shortage. These prices, like $80, will be a dream price. Um, I'd say 6 months from now, you'll probably be lucky when it drops below 90 or even 100. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but the longer this strait stays closed, the worse this is getting. Let's see, Synovus or Whitecap. Scratch. I'm more in the leverage place since Canada is one of the last places on earth at the moment that can gross production on heavy oil. That is true. That is true. Scott says, hoping Biggie does the hokey pokey and turns itself around. That's what I'm hoping for. Cat, I waited and bought some Biggie at its lows. I will use it to fund my other account and exit if it continues to lag. Okay, that sounds like a good plan, actually. ENCL I'm going to watch. Yeah, I think ENCL is another good one, for sure. I think you're pretty safe on that one. Very good iced coffee. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. That's for sure. And let's take a quick look at materials. Materials actually seem to be doing okay right now, guys. Look at this. So gold is up 0.84. So 0.84. Silver up 1. Oh, that's pretty good. 1.44. That's a good pump on silver. Copper. Yeah, copper once again. Copper actually, yeah, that's pretty good. And platinum is up as well, 1.40. Let's see how Bitcoin is taking this. Oh, Bitcoin's actually doing pretty good right now. Look, it's moving back up. And just to sort of give you guys a smaller view here. So Bitcoin, we had for the longest time, we'd been in this channel right in here. So this channel, now it's kind of condensed into, I put in this sort of extra support in the middle of it. And it seems to be stuck in here, but now we're making another shot to the upside to see if we can break. I'd like it to break out and just form a channel somewhere else. I really would. I have a feeling, like I feel right now that this bottom is becoming invalidated. I don't see us going down here. I see this as being our true support right now until we break out. If we can break out, if we can get above this red line, and because that's a major support level. It would be nice. It would be nice to start a channel, even if we use the red line as the bottom as our support. But yes, there's Bitcoin, and that would certainly be good if we were to break to the upside on this. That certainly would be good for MSTE for a little bit. Scott says that's what it's all about. Yeah. Let's see. A 21, or I think that's 21. Looks like a good price for it. An IVM might be a good pick for the bingo after all. I said that it would be a good, I thought it was a good pick, Scott. Or Scratch, sorry. Maybe your real name is Scott Scratch. I don't know. Let's see here. Scott says, Friday I had to check the calendar. When I was working, I always took this week off. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good week. It's kind of one of those things, like one of the things when I used to work with corporate staples, at the beginning of the year, we always had to declare our vacation days. And I hated that because normally I like to just hoard them and just carry them over year after year after year. But with staples, they forced us to actually take them. So I never took them all together. I would basically look at long weekends. So anytime I had a Monday off on a long weekend, I put in a vacation day for the Friday. So I would find just little ways that I could get mini vacations with costing me the smallest amount of my vacation days. And then, spread those out over the year, and I'd end up with a lot of these 4-day weekends. And I used to like doing that. Let's see, Tom, if we break $3 on MSTE, I think we would both be happy for our swings. Yes. I would be very, very happy. Scratch, my name is Luke. Yes, it is. After I said that, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. I think on the Discord. I think his name is, I was thinking Luke. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was like, yes, yes, on the Discord. By the way, guys, we do have a Discord. So, luckily, the last few days, I've been on top of the Discord. I've been in there just deleting them pretty as fast as I can, as they show up. I did add another bot over there to try to get rid of them, and I think it's helped. But I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 that managed to sneak in, and we're talking scammers. They'll come in, they'll put a post. It's usually an at everybody, and they'll be telling you about some great thing over on I don't know, on telecom or WhatsApp. So if you're ever over there and you see something like that, just ignore it. Ignore it. Feel free to report them. Oh, or feel free to do this. Let me show you. This is actually kind of funny, because it's kind of funny now, because when you go and you look at it, I've already deleted them, but the attack on them is still there. Discord. Where's my Discord at? It is in here somewhere. Oh, right over here. All right. So, yeah, we'll just go. Well, actually, right here. We'll just go into general stock talk. And can I find one of these? Oh boy. I can't seem to find one. All right. You know what? Give me a second. I know where. We'll just go to the. Let's see. We'll go to a nerdy salute. There's always one in here. Let's see. Say hi. Say hi. Seriously? I could have swore there was one in here. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know who this is. Oh, here's a Luca. I'm going to say hi to Luca. I don't, there we go. I clicked it. I think it said hi. Hopefully it said hi. Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe in the scammer alerts. Let's see. Scammer. Here it is right here. So Alan says STFU scammer. Now there was right above that, in between these two, was the scammer. I deleted the scammer. So you'll see these every so often, STFU. So if you see that and then you look above it and you see Trader Me, Trader Me is fine. Just know that that's probably, I should talk to Alan and say, Alan, can I just delete these STFUs after I delete the one above it? Just so that way there people don't think that you're yelling at Trader Me. I'll have to. I don't actually know I don't know who Alan is. Other than Alan doesn't like scammers, and I respect that a lot. I respect that a ton. So I should, yeah, I should talk to Alan. Scott says, I take my principal out from MSTE and leave the rest if it goes up. That's not a bad strategy. Scott says, but I'm averaged in at $2.12. That's a good average for MSTE. So many people got into it when it was much higher. Yep. Can you give me a short answer of how the stock market movement? Is there anyone click the up or down button? No. It has to do with buying and selling. So every transaction on the stock market has 2 things. It has a buyer, it has a seller. So when people want to, if everybody's looking to buy a stock and there's not a lot of people wanting to sell it, well, those who do want to sell it can sell it for higher. So that causes the price to rise. If we have a stock that there's just not a lot of people wanting to buy it and there's a lot of people wanting to sell it, well, they have to sell it lower. So that will cause the price to lower. And so when you look at how that cycle works, it's mostly because of psychology. So for example, like there's nothing, like if you take Microsoft. So Microsoft recently, and here, let me do this. Let me show you. Let's head over here. Let's head to Microsoft. Right here. Oh, no, that's strategy. Here it is, Microsoft. So recently, Microsoft had some earnings. And I'm going to spread this out just a little bit. We'll make it a little bigger. All right. So you'll notice Microsoft had some really good earnings. Everybody liked what they heard. So because they liked what they heard, they started buying it. And the people who were going to sell it, they could, because there was so much demand for it, they could charge more for it. And as a result, like boom, big movement to the upside. And as people kept buying it, even up here, people were still buying it. It's like, oh my God, Microsoft's going to the moon. I got to get more. I got to get more. It pushes the price up higher and higher. Now you'll notice a couple places here, like this is probably, a couple of these little downward. And here, let me just pull this. I'm going to make this bigger again so that we can look at the actual shot. So right here, you can see this is people purely buying. Now we had a little bit of a retracement. Why? Because when some people are watching this and it gets high and they're like, I'm taking profits. There you go. More people go crazy and start buying it and more. And then the profit takers move in. They take their profits. More people buy and more people buy. A little bit of profit taking, buy. So it kind of works that way. And it's all psychology. So that's one of the reasons that it's predictable. It's because people are, for the most part, pretty predictable. So if you understand a little bit about psychology, you can begin to understand how people behave. And that's why technical analysis tends to work, because you're not charting. Like when I'm putting lines on the thing, these lines are not. I mean, you may call it technical analysis, but you know what? It's kind of a better word for it might actually be psychological analysis, because that's what I'm doing. I'm analyzing the people. I'm analyzing the behavior. And that's giving me a little bit of an insight into where the probability is. And I will say right now, everybody should learn a little bit of psychology. Why? Because understanding how people think, it gives you an edge. So there's a couple of key things, like just understanding basic emotions, basic motivations for people. That will be a huge thing. Maslow. I don't know if you've heard of Maslow. He was a psychologist. He came up with this thing called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the whole idea of that is, and here, let me see if I can find a copy here. We're going to go to Google. I just want one just to show you. Maslow's hierarchy of needs right there. And we're just going to go, I'll just go to images. I want a nice big one. Here we go. This one will work. Can I make this even bigger? Let's see. Open on a new tab. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So this is a pyramid. So it's just basically the whole idea behind Maslow's hierarchy of needs is that each layer of this is built upon the layers below. So the first thing a human needs is your basic stuff, your physiological needs. So in other words, survival. So you need food, you need water, you need sleep. Once those are taken care of, then you progress to your next level. And in this case, it's safety. So once you have food, water, sleep, you want a home. You want a place, you want a place that you can do some of this stuff in. But safety becomes that next level. And once you've accomplished, so once you have your physiological needs are met, because these are life-threatening. You turn off the physiological needs and you're dead. This is not as much life-threatening. But once you have that, then your next thing is love and belonging. So that is, creating family, creating relationships, friends, reaching out, just touching. I don't want to say touching people, but you know what I mean. Just being able to communicate, being able to feel like part of society, all of that fun stuff. Once you have all of this, and once again, this is built on this, then you get into esteem. So these are, where you start to feel good about yourself. You start to feel good about your skill set, how that relates to your life. You start to really improve things, and you're working towards something, which is this top level, self-actualization. So the whole idea there, that's kind of like the oneness. Like you actually feel like you're a part of the universe. You feel like you're, you know where you belong in the world. You know where you sit. And that is kind of like you living to your best potential. And it's if you're there, like if you're living in self-actualization when your days are done, you had a good life. You had a great life. But that's the whole thing. So how does that tie into psychology? So let me give you an example. Suppose you're working in a call center and you're taking technical support calls, and you get a woman who calls you up. She's she's a little older, and she's angry. She's yelling at you, and she's just really, really angry. Okay, so first thing you want to do in that type of situation is listen, give her a chance to vent, get it out, maybe take some notes, figure out what it is that's making her angry. So once we've done that, let's just say she's calmed down a little bit, you show them that you want to work with her, and she's kind of revealed that her internet's not working. Okay, that makes sense. She's calling tech support. And normally on Sunday, she gets to stream with her grandkids because her family lives, let's say they're living in Winnipeg, and she's in Edmonton. All right, look at this. Look at this line here, love and belonging. That's what she's seeking. And the technical issue is stopping this. So because that's being stopped, she's responding to it on a psychological level. Her anger is about this. It's not about the internet. It's about the family. So if you're trying to help her now, because you now know this, well, what you got to do is you got to position yourself as being on her side, of understanding this and saying, oh my God, you could say something like, empathy, things like that. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I would feel really bad if I couldn't talk to my family. Let's make sure you can talk to your family. Let's do this together. Let's work on this. So what you're doing is whatever the wall is that's keeping her from the love and belonging, you're not positioning yourself on the opposite side of the wall. You're positioning yourself on the same side of the wall as she is. And even if you don't succeed, even if you aren't able to fix the problem, she's not going to be angry at you anymore because you were on the same side of the wall. You were trying to break that wall down with her. And that's how you use psychology. And you can use this with stocks. Why are people upset? Why are people upset that TELUS cut their dividend? Is it love and belonging? Is it safety maybe? Maybe they were relying on that dividend, and now it's cut in half, and they're like, oh no, you're attacking my money. So, you can use this to really, really, really understand the motivation of why people do what they do. And here's the beautiful part, not take it personally. Because if you think about fight or flight, now this is a response that we once needed it really big time. Back in the caveman days, if, a saber-toothed tiger showed up, you gotta fight or flight. And honestly, I think your best bet is probably the flight. And that kept us alive. And it was that way for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It might even have been that way for almost 1,000,000 years. But we don't need that anymore. Our lives are not in danger. But anytime something does come up, like if somebody gets angry with you, well, what happens? All of a sudden, you will tense up. Why are you tensing? It's fight or flight. Because your body, on a psychological level, is back there with the saber-toothed tiger again. And so what you're trying to do is your body wants to tighten everything up. And if you tighten everything up, it can change your voice, the way you communicate, and it can aggravate the person on the other end who's going through a similar type thing. So it can create a negative feedback loop. But if you understand it, you can sit back. Like one thing I can say is, while that person's yelling at you, you can do little things. Like, for example, if you just contract muscles under your desk and release them, just a quick little thing. I mean, they can't see you, right, if you're talking on a phone. And that will loosen up your muscles. It'll loosen you up. So that way there, when you do reach out after they finish yelling at you, you're not going to be in that flight and, the flight and fight response. You're not going to sound like you're hostile. You're going to come in nice and smooth. You're nice and calming. It's like, everything's okay. Let me help you. Let me help you. And you can bring them down. You can bring them down nice and easily. And so that's why things like this are really important. That's why understanding, even you don't have to you don't have to go and study, you don't have to read a book on Maslow, but just understanding the very basics. That is enough to give you a tool that will help you in life. It'll help you deal with people. It'll help you understand people, and it might also help you understand why things move the way they do in the stock market. Anyway, tangent. But I had to. I had to go on that one. I'm sorry, guys. I love that tangent. I love psychology. All right, Rory says, I only know how to press the button. The rest, I just shrug my shoulders and hope for the best. And Scratch, always buy the buy button for BTO at $5, but I never hit. BTO is a good one. So, yeah, BTO is really good. Let's see, BTO is a good one. I look at it at $5 too. Scott says, I said before that I had no intention of ever touching MSTE, and then it hit 250, and greed got the better of me. Okay. That one was for you. Guys, don't anyone wait for a bottom in MSTE? That stuff just keep creeping down without any buyers stepping in. Let's see. Lance says, good afternoon from Northern Ontario. No signal where my cabin is, but a little by the marina. I'm interested to see what I've missed the past few days. Oh, a little bit. You missed nothing yesterday, though. There wasn't anything yesterday. Scratch. Looks like people are buying their way into oblivion. I need more self-esteem. I'm missing a couple of blocks in my pyramid of needs. So what an MLM is? No, no, that MLM is multi-level marketing. No, that's wrong. That's just not good. Scratch. I need to look at the mistake I make when I am typing. Typing like literature teacher, but just being an honest construction worker. Always proofread. Yeah, that's a really good, that's a good point. I even try to do that when I'm chatting. Like, I will try to look back and read it just to make sure. We can form the S team. Nice. Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. There was a couple of videos I watched on it. Good stuff, motivating. Yeah, there we go. Tighten up muscles under your desk. Butt clenches. Oh, gosh. Jumping jacks from your chair. Yeah, I know. And guys, those of you who said we were going to end this stream early, look at this. It's 2 hours, 32 minutes. We're 2 minutes into overtime. So all it takes is you guys talk, I talk. Or you send me on a distraction. Send me off on a tangent. We did a little psychology. You know what? I actually feel good to say, I really enjoyed that tangent, guys. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I love talking about stuff like that. So that was fun. That was fun. All right. Well, with that being said, though, remember, guys, there's no stream tomorrow. So market's closed, but we'll be back on Tuesday. And Tuesday we are doing a double stream. So you'll get double dose of me on Tuesday. I can't wait. Let's see what it's all gonna look like. I'm expecting calmness over the next couple of days. So until then, I'm gonna say 2 words. I'm gonna say 2 words before I go. I think you know what they are. It's bye-bye.